We're going to protect Christianity, and I can say that. I don't have to be politically correct, or we're going to protect it. You know? And I asked Jerry and I asked some of the folks, because I hear this is a major theme right here, but 2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17, that's the whole ball game. Where the Spirit of the Lord, right? Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. I just have to say this because, you know, I'm a true believer, and you're many true believers. I hope all. Is everybody a true believer in this room? I will tell you, Christianity is under siege, whether we want to talk about it or we don't want to talk about it. And if I said some of the things about Christians that I've said about the Muslims, where we have a problem, and it's a problem we have to talk about, and I brought it out. I took a lot of heat for bringing it out, and I will tell you that now people are saying he did a great service. Just like when I brought out illegal immigration, everybody went crazy about Trump. How could he say that? And then about 2 weeks later, everyone's trying to say, well, you know, Trump's right, because they see the murder of Kate in San Francisco and Jamil in Los Angeles and so many others, the tremendous crime, and what it does to your economy. So I brought these things out. I feel I have an obligation to bring them out. You know, remember, I'm self-funding my campaign, so I don't have anybody speaking in my ear. I mean, Christianity, when you think of what's happening, you look at the numbers. I talk about Sunday school, people don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. It's true, they don't know what I'm talking about. When you look, instead of going this way, you're going to be going this way. You may be going this way, but you're going to be going, we're going to bring it back. Because it's a good thing. It's a good thing. They treated you like it was a bad thing, but it's a great thing, not a good thing. It's a great thing. The fact is that there's nothing the politicians can do to you if you band together. You have too much power. But the Christians don't use their power. They don't use your power. And honestly, you have, by far, it's the strongest. I mean, you talk about lobbies, you have the strongest lobby ever. But I never hear about a Christian lobby. I hear great people, like the pastor. I hear some unbelievable people. Many, many friends are ministers, and lots of them have endorsed me already. But I have to tell you that we don't hear about strength, and we have to strengthen, because we are getting, if you look, it's death by a million cuts. We are getting less and less and less powerful in terms of a religion and in terms of a force. And honestly, whether it's one leader or a number of people, potentially you have tremendous power. When they don't want to say Merry Christmas in department stores anymore. I won't shop at places that don't say Merry Christmas. Guess what? I don't do too much shopping. Because, no, it's true. When I see these stores and they have a red wall and they have nothing on it, they don't want to say Merry Christmas anymore. I say, why don't you say Merry Christmas? Well, we're not allowed to. The owner doesn't want us to. These big department stores, they're not allowed to. Not government officials know best how to create a strong and loving community. And above all else, we know this. In America, we don't worship government, we worship God. For too long, politicians have tried, oh, have they tried, to centralize authority among the hands of a small few in our nation's capital. I see them all the time. Bureaucrats think they can run over your lives, overrule your values, meddle in your faith, and tell you how to live, what to say, and where to pray. But we know that parents, not bureaucrats, know best how to raise their children and create a thriving society.
My children, He has gathered you to America as a shield against my wrath, in hope that I would stay my Father's hand for your sake. I will not. He has earned his punishment, and those who choose to remain in his realm will drink from the bitter cup of his chastisement. Come out of Babylon, or suffer the fate which will befall him.
We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly. Very much, everybody, for being here. We appreciate it. There seems to be quite a bit of interest from the press, but there always is. And I think you know most of my team. And you folks have done a terrific job over the years, but we have to get prices down for a lot of reasons. We have no choice. For Medicare, for Medicaid, we have to get the prices way down, so that's what we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be streamlining the process so that, from your standpoint, when you have a drug, you can actually get it approved if it works instead of waiting for many, many years. The U.S. drug companies have produced extraordinary results for our country, but the pricing has been astronomical for our country. Better do better. New drugs have led to longer, healthier lives. We all know that. But we have to do better. Accelerating cures. We're forced and focused on accelerating FDA approvals. We're going to get the approval process much faster. One thing that's always disturbed me, they come up with a new drug for a patient who's terminal, and the FDA says we can't have this drug used on the patient. But they say, but the patient within 4 weeks will be dead. They say, well, we still can't approve the drug. Now, we don't know if the drug works or if it doesn't work, but we can't approve the drug because we don't want to hurt the patient. But the patient is not going to live more than 4 weeks. So we're going to be changing a lot of the rules. But one of the things that people ask me, and they ask me a lot, is what do you do about your children? How do you keep your children? You know, because my children all work hard and they love it and they do well at it. And they're asking me a lot and more about my children. And I say, you know, since they were little, since they could barely speak, I'd say no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. But I tell people what's really easy, like I never had a drink, I never had a glass of alcohol. And I in all fairness, I've watched people and I study people, and I had a great tutor on this. But I look and I see what it does to people when they lose control. One thing I can tell you, because I don't smoke. I mean, I have some bad habits, but I don't smoke. You don't want to know what they are. Don't ask. Somebody's going to get up. Please, that would be too many people back there with those cameras. But I say to people, if you don't drink, it's so easy not to want alcohol. If you don't smoke, I watch people smoke. It looks terrible to me. You know, it's dry, it's terrible. But I have friends, they gave up smoking and they can't do it. And they look at somebody smoking, to them it's like, oh boy, I wish I could have that cigarette. You know, just that one more cigarette, then it turns out to be a disaster. But if you don't drink and if you don't take drugs, your children, meaning your children, are going to have a tremendously enhanced chance of really being successful and having a good life and having a happy life. Oh, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarette. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
When I came into office, I promised to look at the world's challenges with open eyes and very fresh thinking. We cannot solve our problems by making the same failed assumptions and repeating the same failed strategies of the past. Old challenges demand new approaches. My announcement today marks the beginning of a new approach to conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. In 1995, Congress adopted the Jerusalem Embassy Act, urging the federal government to relocate the American embassy to Jerusalem and to recognize that that city, and so importantly, is Israel's capital.
Jerusalem is still the capital of Israel and must remain an undivided city accessible to all.
As soon as I take office, I will begin the process of moving the United States ambassador to the city of Israel as chosen as its capital.
I continue to say that Jerusalem will be the capital of Israel. And I have said that before, and I will say it again.
And Jerusalem will remain the capital of Israel.